All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, all the knowledge-hungry entrepreneurs in the house, good afternoon. My name is Henry Alukhaba. I'm a consultant for KE International, which is the main contractor behind the MWALE Medical and Technology City. It's a $2 billion green, community-owned smart city in Western Kenya. I've worked with Julius Mwale, the lead investor and visionary behind MMTC for over a decade right now. I'm also a community member and owner in MMTC. And today, I'm standing in for Mr. Mwale. He's running late due to mechanical issues with his plan, and he apologizes for not being able to be here in time to talk with you. MMTC is a model of development that has worked in Kenya and is now being replicated across the African continent. Transforming lives is at the heart of everything that we do, and we do it through entrepreneurship by building economic engines. In this case for us, it's smart cities and the core business and infrastructure in them. So as I mentioned, MMTC is a $2 billion smart city in Western Kenya. It's built around a 5,000-bed medical tourism hospital. The cities use a community ownership or partnership development model, which brings local residents into the fold as primary benefactors, lifting them out of poverty and into the middle class in the process. The model is proven to reduce political risk, increase safety in the area, and ultimately grants us access to newly minted middle class residents with excess cash flow. People from across the continent have demanded for us to bring the same kind of development to their home areas. We now have 18 smart city projects under development in more than 12 African countries. As you can see from our slides, that was the area in 2015 when we were starting construction. That's the progress in 2019. So that's in Kakamega County in Western Kenya. Some of the countries we're building right now for the 18 smart cities that we are currently developing in Africa. So we have Kenya in Western Kakamega. We have the DRC, Congo Brazzaville, Ghana, Cameroon, Sierra Leone, Zambia, Mozambique, Mauritania, and Senegal. And so for the target for us is to be able to lift over 800 million people from poverty into the middle class. And this will give us, and it will give other entrepreneurs, an access to a market of over 800 million people who will now be able to afford services. We already have over 4 million acres of land. That is because of the trust that we have built with the local communities, with paramount chiefs, and with other leaders at all levels of government. We've done it in Western Kenya. Now we're expanding to 18 plus new smart cities in Africa. Each of it is built around one or more economic engines, including healthcare, technology, mining, energy, manufacturing, and agriculture. In the next few minutes, I'm going to go into a little more depth explaining this. So for the 4 million acres that we are currently controlling in Africa, what we do is we come into a community, we establish an economic engine. In this case, in Western Kenya, it was healthcare. So we built a 5,000-bed hospital, and then we built the infrastructure around it, creating the city. In some of those 18 locations, the cities will be based on economic engines such as technology, mining, energy, manufacturing, and agriculture. At our flagship project, MMTC in Western Kenya, the main economic engine, as I said, was the 5,000-bed world-class Hamptons Hospital. As you can see, could you go to the next slide, please? So the main economic engine for our project in Western Kenya was the 5,000-bed world-class Hamptons Hospital. And many of you will ask, why Western Kenya? So the reason, Western Kenya is blessed with abundant rainfall and rich, fertile soil. It's among the most densely populated areas in Kenya. In fact, the land area in this 14-county lake region is approximately the same as the land area of the 4 counties that make up Nairobi. And yet, this area that's being called rural is home to 16 million people against Nairobi's 9 million people. So instead of competing with a saturated market in a city with expensive real estate, we went to where there were unmet needs for world-class healthcare, and we built not only the hospital, but also all the supporting infrastructure. We have built 4,800 homes for low, middle, and high-income earners, hotels, shopping, 36-hole golf course, a solar power plant. We have also invested into transportation infrastructures by upgrading all the roads in the area to tarmac and all-weather standards, approximately 300 miles of roads, and adding an airport. We have enhanced security through jobs, 3,000 solar streetlights, cameras, and manned security personnel. We improved access to information and technology by bringing in fiber optic cables, free public Wi-Fi. That's the picture of the hospital. So it's the 5,000-bed hospital. That's our staff posing for a photo at the entrance of the hospital. So we expand, include a technology park, a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, and we are currently piloting a telehealth system to be able to treat patients in remote areas for people who may not be able to access our facility. So for instance, we are rolling out, in partnership with other technology leaders in the world, we are rolling out health cubicles to more than 472 schools and markets so that people can just walk into the cubicle. There's going to be a nurse there and world-class equipment. So the nurse will be able to draw samples and perform tests. And then this data can be transmitted directly to our main facility, and the patient can be treated remotely. So this will enable access to affordable healthcare, closer to people that need it. Our development model is one of partnership with the local landowners and community stakeholders. We did not evict even a single family, and we did not force anyone to work with us. It was entirely at will. Once people saw how our early adopters were benefiting, there was a flood of more than 700 families that signed on, giving us a total of 5,000 acres on which to build the critical infrastructure for the city. In exchange, we upgraded their homes to city standards, we gave them electricity and water, and we built them rental units where now we use them to house our workers, nurses and doctors who are working, now we've transformed the local farmers into landlords. As landlords, they now earn more in 1 month than what they were earning previously, at best in 18 months of cultivating sugarcane. As a result of our investments, land values have soared 20 times, and since 80% of the land is still owned by the landlords, they emerge as the top beneficiaries. Of ambitious young people who are thirsty for opportunities, who are ready to work and they are very highly educated. We just put them to work, we learn what they want and for their careers, and we train them to be entrepreneurs and young leaders. Altogether, our activities have grown the local economy, we lift others, and we all reap the benefits all together. So that's one of from the photo, that's one of the events. We usually do some of these events with the local community, engage our partners in developing the project. Most of them are landlords in the city. They're housing our doctors and nurses. So in the hospital in full operation, it's going to have 6,000 doctors and nurses. So we needed somewhere to house those people. And these locals, they're our partners. They own rental units, they house our staff, and they earn income from there. As people heard about what we were doing at MMTC, they started to invite us to partner with them in their home areas too. In fact, the response has been overwhelming. So far, we have committed to 18 new cities in 12 countries, as I said, and we are building up a holistic, integrated economic engine with all of the supporting infrastructure. So we are doing this expansion, and the provision for the service that we are doing, so we are doing housing, energy and utilities, recreation and shopping, roads and transportation, and telecommunications. So we are partnering with governments across Africa and other communities to be able to replicate this model because so people are impressed with what we did in Western Kenya, developing a city in a model where you don't relocate people and you just upgrade the existing infrastructure and build an economic engine for them. So green energy is something that we've embraced because for a city, you must have power. And for us, we've chosen to pursue green energy using solar and other renewable sources. Solar, however, requires battery storage. And that has been the challenge with solar because solar is cheap. We have the sun, but now the challenge is storage. How do you use it at night? So we have secured mines and mining rights for minerals needed to manufacture batteries. And we are developing a terawatt-scale battery plant in DRC. So DRC is blessed with a lot of those minerals, and we've secured the mining rights, and the mines for the minerals. And we are developing a battery plant to manufacture, and we've been licensed to produce 16 gigawatts of solar with a power purchase agreement with the government to do 1.6 gigawatts. That's 10% of our generating capacity. So that's from the photo. That's our solar plant in Western Kenya. So right now we are doing 10 megawatts of electricity, and it's powering the entire city. It's completely off the grid. So everything is running on solar. Manufacturing is one of the other areas that we are doing as an economic engine for some of our cities. You can see from the graph there, so we are doing manufacturing, like I mentioned, in DRC, manufacturing the solar batteries for storage. And the graph that you see shows plainly that the cost of manufacturing batteries in DRC is much lower than manufacturing them elsewhere. It is a no-brainer. We are not only into batteries, though. We have a major project in Sierra Leone, and that includes green steel and cement manufacturing. We are developing pharmaceutical manufacturing capacities in Kenya and green fertilizer in Mauritania. Each of these is designed to optimize the use of locally available resources, critical need not only within Africa, but globally. One of the other economic engines we are using to develop our cities is agriculture. So in all these new cities and beyond, people need to eat. The untapped potential for agriculture in Africa is enormous. One of the 4 million acres that we have for development, 1.5 million acres under cultivation, and you're investing in mechanization and irrigation and transport. There's a huge market for food in Africa, not only in our cities. In May, I was in Davos with the director of the World Food Program, David Beasley. It is less now, but just before. Thank you. In May, I was in Davos with the director for the World Food Program, David Beasley. It's less now, but just before the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, 80% of the food supplied by the World Food Program was coming into Africa, to areas of drought and famine, like in the Horn of Africa, which has been suffering the worst drought for 40 years. Yet almost none of that food is grown in Africa. We are changing that. So we're investing in mechanization and irrigation systems, and we are connecting the areas of plenty with the areas of need. That is the kind of change that we needed for Africa. And that's why we're investing in agriculture as one of the economic engines that we're using to build our cities. So now, in summary, each city is an integrated development model that harnesses the abundance of local resources. We have tapped into that potential. We have built a successful development model for transforming lives. We already have wealth and assets, including land and mineral resources, and we already have key international and institutional partners to catalyze the development. Now we just need more people at all levels to help us execute these projects. We need entrepreneurs like you with great ideas to come and build their businesses in our cities and to take advantage of the innovation hubs and business incubators that will feature into our cities. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy MWALE, and my question is to the last speaker. How do you determine or how do you decide which economic engine you are going to spearhead in a particular area? If I could specifically maybe ask about a place like Suswa. Sounds like it's an upcoming area with the SGR heading to the destination. So how do you determine, for instance, a place like Suswa, what would be the economic engine as you had listed them? Which one would you pick and why?
So that's a good question. So for most of these regions, it's basically something that has been an untapped potential for that region. For example, when you started building in Western Kenya, so you know Western Kenya was a very big farming region for sugarcane. And now it was a few years after the collapse of Mumias Sugar, and there were these farmers with huge tracts of land. You know, people had like 10 acres of land, a small family, 10 acres of land, and it was lying fallow. So they were just using a portion of that land for subsistence farming, you know, like maize and beans. And also, they did not have a source of income at that time, but they had the land. Now, for us, when we came in, the land was their asset. So now when we came in and decided to build a city, we did a feasibility study for about 5 years, and we noticed there were 400,000 East Africans going to India every year for specialized treatment. So that's a huge amount of money leaving our African economy, East African economy, going into India. So after the feasibility study, we decided we'd do a hospital so that these people don't have to go to India yearly for specialized treatment. They can just be treated home. So among the factors was the availability of land in that region, and it's also central. So from where we're building to a place like Kampala, it's just 4 hours away. So if I take a flight from the city in Western Kenya to here in Nairobi, it's like a 45-minute flight. So we're able to reach the entire region of East Africa. So now that's how we determine the economic engine. For a place like DRC, they are blessed with a lot of minerals. So they have a lot of mineral resources. Companies like Tesla come all the way to buy like cobalt to go and manufacture batteries and electric vehicles. So now that is something they're blessed with. For us, we are building now a factory there to manufacture batteries so that when Tesla and all the other companies come into Africa, they don't buy our minerals, they buy our finished products. And now we create jobs for the youth in that area. They can work in those factories, and now they're bringing in income. So that's how we determine the economic engine. So we look at what the area is blessed with in terms of maybe resources or what potential they have, and it's not tapped yet.
The question to the last speaker, in terms of the issue of land, land is quite emotive in Kenya. And when they give it, what do they get in return apart from the employment? And I also had some questions for Safaricom. I don't know whether I can still say. Yes. In terms of Safaricom, they were talking of in terms of technology being a driver in business. And we realize in our country, technology is a little bit far. We are not technologically endowed so much. So what is their way forward? And then also they are talking of, they have a lot of partners outside, but local partnerships, who they work with and how they can work. Sorry, I forgot to say my name. My name is Christine Ongondo. I'm from Nairobi City County Government, and I work with community development in issues of livelihood and socioeconomic empowerment. And then there is the issue of Hustler Fund. They talked of, I think, is it 34 billion, which has been given out. We would like to know how that has spurred economic development and especially issues of business and the development of business at the local levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine, for that question. For land, like I mentioned, most of these families, this was a region that used to farm sugarcane. And after the collapse of Mumias Sugar, most of the land was lying fallow. So now, when we partnered with the community, we were not taking all of their land. So let's say a family had 10 acres of land, and they wanted to partner with us. Basically, they were selling part of their land to us. So if somebody was selling to us 5 acres of land, what we'll do, the value of that land, let's put a figure to it. So what we do with that money, first, because we don't want to relocate them from the city, because the city is going to need, landlords, people to work there, and you're going to need people to live there. Because you don't want to relocate them, you upgrade their home to the standards that you want in your city, and so you upgrade their homes and you build rental units for them. The reason why we are doing that is because we want to give them an alternative source of income so that they can afford to live and work there and get the benefits of being a part owner of the city. So we renovate their houses to the city standards. We build them rental units, so now they have a monthly income from rent, and now we give them our staff to be able to live, in their units and pay them rent every month. Yes, and part of that money they get in cash, of course.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It sounds very exciting, and I'm wondering how come we haven't had much advertisement on this, and yet it is a mega business or something that is very beneficial to the region and even to the whole of Africa.
Take another one so that it's easier.
Oh, hello. It's a good project. My question is only one. Who is funding the project? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just take those two. You shall have another one.
Okay, so thank you for those questions. So I'll invite you to also check out our social media pages, but we've also done a lot of advertising globally, not only here in Kenya. Just recently, we were invited into Forbes Under 30 event in Botswana, where our principal investor, Mr. Julius Mwale, was the keynote speaker. So we usually use such global platforms to advertise what we do. We also have the support even of the national government, and that's why we've been successful in building the project up to this far. And as I mentioned, to answer the second question, so our principal investor is Mr. Julius Mwale, together with other investors. So it's called MWALE Medical Technology City, and so it's a consortium of companies. It's a consortium of companies and investors who've come together to be able to build the city. But the principal investor is Mr. Julius Mwale.
Thank you very much. I'm also impressed with what you have presented. One of the issues when we were watching, when you are presenting, you just told us up to 2019. We don't know the current situation. Have you opened officially? Is it working? And these people who are in the neighborhood, have you employed them or you came with foreigners like the Chinese and hipped now at the hospital? How are the locals benefiting? And lastly, we are here to know how to partner. Have you really told us how to partner with MWALE now? Or MWALE is untouchable?
Thank you. Take one more.
My name is Duncan. My question or my issue is all about this MWALE. Because on the media, we have seen something huge. But me, personally, I come from Western, specifically not in Kakamega, but I happen to be there. What are the challenges you people are facing in terms of business transaction? Is it true that some workers there or some companies, suppliers are not being paid? You have not been paying the workers or the suppliers.
Okay, thank you for those questions. To answer the first one, she said she only saw progress up to 2019. Now, the hospital has been open since 2020. So currently there is over 17 departments operational. The cancer center is operational, and we've partnered with NHIF. If you go there right now and you are a resident of Kakamega and you have NHIF, you'll be treated for free without any co-payment charges. So we've been operational since 2020, and we are continuing to open new departments, with time. Cancer, inpatient, out, and other departments are currently open. And we're using the local workforce. So with about over 6,000 workers in the entire city, and majority of them are from within the region. So it's a region of very highly educated and young people, the Western region, and you're utilizing that, as our workforce. To answer the second question, I'm also a community member from there, and I also work for KE International, which is the main contractor, the prime contractor building the city. And we've not had any of such issues. She also said she needs to know, or you guys need to know, the opportunities that are available for you to partner with MWALE. So we are inviting entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, people who want to launch their businesses, people who want to venture into the markets you're opening up with these cities, to come and be part of this revolution. We are opening a technology park in the hospital building that I showed you. And we are using that, to incubate businesses and build innovation hubs and train people on how to launch and start businesses. So you can be part of that.
My name is Lydia, and I've seen that you are also investing in agriculture. Apparently, you have said that that place they used to grow sugarcane, and now you took the land and invested in real estate, right? So your agricultural advisors, did they advise the farmers on any other alternative crop that they could grow? Or if they did, what are they doing now on the remaining piece of land?
Thank you. For example, for the hospital that we currently have, there's a community outreach department that works with the local farmers. Remember, currently we've only partnered with about 700 families. There's over 35,000 families in that region. And now, so what our community outreach department has done, they've worked with these farmers. Most of them have been doing organic farming. So, you plant your vegetables, you don't use fertilizer or any chemicals, it's just manure, so it's healthy food.